For a while now, I wanted to go back and redo my review for the Outbreak duology, as I've improved since 2023 and want to make up for my amateurness. So since I've already reviewed Resident Evil Survivor, Survivor 2, and Resident Evil 1 now, I might as well go ahead and do the Outbreak games next. So let's finally re-review Resident Evil Outbreak and give it a proper review.
I'm getting too old for this.
Resident Evil Outbreak was developed and published by Capcom in the year 2003, exclusively for PlayStation 2. It's a single-player and co-op experience where you play as one of 8 characters in 5 scenarios. However, Resident Evil Outbreak was originally a MMO concept, where you would play with others across the world on PlayStation 2 via a network. Capcom originally dubbed the game Resident Evil Online, or Biohazard Online in Japan. The game was set to be the most ambitious project by Capcom up to that point, with dozens of proposed scenarios, characters, weapons, BOWs, and more to play with. But eventually, due to various factors that got in the way and development hell, they eventually scrapped the entire thing and made the game single player with multiplayer as an option, renaming the game to Resident Evil Outbreak. I remember reading about the project as a kid and being fascinated with the concept. I loved Resident Evil since I was 5 or 6, when my grandpa bought me a PlayStation 1 and told me to pick out any game for it. I chose Resident Evil 2 of all things. When we got home, my dad and grandpa were watching football and I wanted to play my new game console. So they sat it up and I just spun around as the zombies ate Leon alive. My dad said, "You're dead," and turned it off so they could go back to watching football. After seeing Leon getting eaten alive by zombies and his corpse twitching as you saw them rip and tear his flesh off of him, I was hooked. From then on, I wanted the toys and had almost every single one of them. Too bad my parents said I had them all, but I was missing the Tyrant, or Mr. X if you will, or Trenchy for those who play Darkside Chronicles.
No.
So yeah, since I was a wee lad, I've been into this franchise, and with those PlayStation magazines and demo discs, I got to read up on Outbreak, never getting a chance to own it until high school, where a childhood friend from elementary told me about Outbreak and allowed me to borrow and then keep his copy of the game afterwards. So I sunk dozens of hours into the game, yet never could beat it as I always got stuck on the last scenario.
What a noob.
Anyways, Outbreak is an old school survival horror game mixed with cooperative play. If you play offline, you'll have bots to help you out unless you disable them. Outbreak is broken up into several scenarios across Raccoon City during the outbreak after Umbrella attempted to steal the G-Virus from Birkin. Now, you'll get to experience what it was like to be in the city during the outbreak, as one of 8 characters across 5 scenarios, as you attempt to escape the nightmare. There's 8 characters to play as, each with varying health, virus gauge, speed, and abilities/items. Some also have ties to scenarios, so it makes sense to play as them in those for extra story, such as Mark in Outbreak, as his friend and co-worker Bob is struggling to survive, meaning you'll have to carry him to the rooftop where things come to an end for him.
I can't move anymore. I know me, and I'm not gonna be someone else's burden.
Bob, stop!
No, you don't understand, Mark. I'm no different from them. I feel the hunger. So please let me die while my conscience remains. Bob.
Each of the 8 characters come with something they can use to aid them in survival. Outside of Jim, who uses a fucking stupid coin that doesn't do anything. But then again, Jim himself fucking sucks.
Man, you don't know shit.
Kevin comes with a unique handgun that uses 45 auto rounds, which is rare, and the gun does higher damage than your average handgun. Mark has a standard handgun. David comes with a tool belt, which you can use to combine various items to create new weapons, such as a pesticide can and a lighter to make a portable flamethrower, or a knife and broom will make a spear. George has a medical set to craft healing items out of stuff you can carry. Cindy has a herb case and can store one of each herb, up to 3 in a stack. Alyssa has a lockpick for simple locks, unique only to her. And Yoko comes with a backpack, giving her 4 additional inventory slots. She also comes with cake.
Dear God!
The 5 scenarios you'll play through are Outbreak, Below Freezing Point, The Hive, Hellfire, and Decisions. Each one needed to be completed in order for the next to unlock. Every location will vary in backtracking zombies, items, story, and characters, with some scenarios having bonuses tied to them if you play certain characters, like Cindy in Outbreak or Yoko in Below Freezing Point, given both have ties to Jay's Bar and Umbrella, or as George in Decisions. I'll talk more about scenarios later on in the review. For now, the gameplay.
When is this stupid game gonna end?
Everyone in Raccoon City is basically infected, including all 8 playable characters. There's a virus gauge in the lower right hand corner that goes up at different rates for each character. It also goes up when you get hurt, so not only are you balancing out your health, but also your zombification process. And no, there's no way to lower it. Once it gets too high, you'll become weak and then drop dead, reanimating if playing with others, or if your AI partner succumbs to their gauge, they'll reanimate. Of course, this rarely ever happened to me, so I have no footage for this, but it's entirely possible.
Oh, I apologize if I surprised you. Please, do not be alarmed.
Given this game came out prior to the death of the series, a la Resident Evil 4, the game plays much like Code Veronica and its enhanced version, Code Veronica X, with fixed and chase camera, plus full 3D environments to explore. So yes, get used to tank controls. Otherwise, good luck getting past the first scenario, let alone getting the key to go upstairs. This doesn't feel bad and is quite playable, as long as you know how these games play, that is. Just remember the old school rules of engagement in the original trilogy. Look around and listen. If you don't hear or see anything, you're probably safe to continue onwards. Plus, Outbreak does feature the lock-on system, so you can use that too to find any threats around corners and off-screen.
Did you find it?
Break yourself, fool!
Did you find anything new? No shit. Hey!
The controls are simple and laid out perfectly. Left analog stick is to move, right for communicating commands, R1 to aim and lock on to the nearest target, X to attack, square for quick communication, R2 to aim forward and not lock onto anything, hold circle and move to run, triangle for map, start to bring up your inventory in real time, and select to pause the game. Everything works. It feels good to control and play. Nothing is clunky here. But the hiccups in performance is noticeable, as whenever you bring up the inventory or map, there's a stutter/pause, and it varies each time you do this. Definitely annoying, and thankfully was fixed in the sequel. Of course, just like traditional Resident Evil games, you can't carry just anything. Even though everything only takes up a single inventory slot now, you're stuck dealing with a dinky 4-slot inventory. Yeah, get used to only having 4 items on you at all times. This includes healing items, weapons, ammo, and even key items needed to progress the scenario, let alone are part of the completion checklist, where you need to complete a scenario while carrying a unique key item that has no other use. Yep. Welcome to Outbreak.
Kiss my ass, bitch!
There's only one character who can expand their inventory, and that's Yoko with her backpack, or knapsack if you're European or whatever. This gives her 4 additional slots for a grand total of 8, making her the most vital and useful character in the entire game, especially when getting a good view from behind.
Stop it. I don't understand what you're talking about.
There's no way to expand your inventory in any fashion unlike in Resident Evil 2, which makes it more difficult to complete scenarios and of course adds a shit ton of backtracking to get a key item you left behind because you needed a weapon and had to carry other key items to even get to the next required key item. Yeah. Oh, and if you give the AI a key item, they'll drop it in favor of a bunch of fucking iron pipes or blue herbs, which are not needed in most situations. Yeah, this game has a lot of faults holding it back. But what else is new?
Ridiculous!
One masterpiece is enough.
When it comes to the weapons, you got a variety of firearms, melee, and even weapon combos with the use of David's tool belt, though some are rarer than others, maybe only available in one scenario, let alone a higher difficulty. I never saw the submachine gun outside of the Hive when playing as Kevin or Cindy. I never saw a rocket launcher outside of the one with a single rocket in Decisions. And I never once saw the assault rifle. I did, however, get to use the various handguns, magnum, revolver, shotgun, and even the grenade launcher.
I will survive.
I never really used melee weapons because melee in survival horror is like melee in Skyrim or Fallout. It's ass. And not the good kind of ass either.
Excuse me, what did you just say?
I also rarely use David's tool belt because I always go for a gun, especially in Infinity mode, where I'll never need to worry about ammo, so why even bother combining pesticide and a lighter to make a mini flamethrower? But hey, there's a good variety of weapons on offer, even if you need to play certain scenarios to get to use some of the better stuff. Something Outbreak File 2 would also fix.
Okay.
BOWs vary from standard zombies to hunters. You got all your classics here. Zombies, Cerberus, Crow, Licker, Hunter, Neptune, Spider, and even a Tyrant final boss. Each scenario will have exclusive enemies that don't really appear in others, outside of certain locations within them, let alone difficulty presets. So, if you want to fight the annoying leeches, then you gotta go play the Hive, where if they attack you, you will always be put into a bleed state which will quickly kill you. Very annoying. If you love liquors and just can't get enough oral action, play Hellfire. Enjoy getting pounced by frog creatures? Then play Below Freezing Point. There's a total of 20 types of enemies across the 5 scenarios in Outbreak. I don't outright hate most of the BOWs, outside of leeches being impossible to hit in the bleed state they put you in, but those scissor worms are definitely also up there. For even with infinite ammo shotguns, it took almost like 10 shots to kill a single one of them. Yeah, they're a bit spongy.
Please help!
won't. You. Die!
Each scenario also has a final boss of sorts. Outbreak has dozens of respawned zombies until you end up blowing up the dead walk. Below Freezing Point has the G creature from Resident Evil 2. The Hive has a giant leech. Hellfire has a female licker who'd give a mean rim job. And Decisions has a tyrant that has two forms. Gee, I wonder where they got that idea from.
Whoa!
Puzzles vary from simply needing a key to unlock a door to needing to flip switches in order so you can light up a painting to get a gold key to flip switches to enable power in the breaker room so you can get a red jewel in order to unlock a hidden escape route just to face the boss in Hellfire's scenario. Yeah. Puzzles are pretty much simple for the most part. Some are obvious, while there's some that will leave you frustrated pausing the game and looking up what to do. Namely in Decisions, which has you deciphering codes to figure out what time to set a clock to so you can get a key item to unlock a hidden door just to progress the scenario. Yeah, fuck this shit.
No!
The AI is kind of useless. And also stupid.
Stupid thinky. I can do that a long time. Stupid.
I'm talking Bethesda levels of fucking stupid at times.
Stupid thinky.
They'll drop key items in favor of useless shit like ammo for guns that they don't need / have, especially in Infinity mode, where guns don't need ammo in the fucking first place.
You're stupid. You can't add 2 + 2, you know why? 'Cause you're stupid.
They'll drop guns in favor of melee weapons or blue herbs when you'll never need those for pretty much most of the scenarios and difficulties, making them unable to fight off any zombies or other bioorganic weapons. Even if they have a weapon, most of the time they'll ignore enemies right in front of them or till they're attacked. I have to babysit 2 stupid AI in every fucking scenario basically. Fuck me.
Please help!
No.
What also doesn't help because of the stupid AI is you can't pick your fellow survivors. Each character has a predetermined set depending on the scenario. One will help you and the other will not, which is super annoying. Yet another thing the sequel fixes for you, as you can pick whoever you want and alter their costume too. Plus there's a list online you can see to find out who will work with who. So get used to having only one partner helping you not die and the other running off just watching you from the sideline.
You gonna help or what?
Ahead.
That is beautiful. They came to a reconciliation. They got all their anger out and no one got hurt.
Now it's time to talk about the scenarios themselves, starting off with some major problems that plague the Outbreak duology.
It is I, a picky bitch.
First things first, we'll talk about how long these bloody scenarios can last. Anywhere between 20 minutes to a whopping hour if not longer. Seriously, these things are just too long to be worth playing at times. It's not like other Resident Evil games where you can just save and come back. Here, you kind of have to complete it all in one go, since it was a multiplayer designed game after all.
Picky bitch.
Another major issue with survival horror games, at least The badly designed ones, that is the non-stop backtracking around various areas just to complete a small task that barely progresses you forward, if not at all. Just because you forgot one little tiny itty bitty thing. Fuck the backtracking, it's outrageously bad in below freezing point, hellfire, and especially decisions. There's none in Outbreak and the Hive. As it's so small and short, it's forgivable.
I don't think so.
Nope.
I just hate having to run across the entire fucking level just because I forgot an item that didn't seem important, with my dinky 4 space inventory being used by a weapon and healing item plus other stuff. Let alone I didn't complete a puzzle like flipping a damn switch just to unlock a door. God, I fucking hate this shit. It's definitely a product of its time. I don't like walk-in simulators, and I don't like backtracking for the smallest of bullshit.
Can I get an amen?
Oh god. Oh god. These are truly dreadful. The load times. Thankfully it varies, and if you're playing on Infinity Mode or regular, it always varies. As Infinity Mode, we'll see a huge increase in load times. Namely, with the now loading screens. And not so much so when you're loading to different areas with the white text displaying what area you're entering. I honestly find myself getting too frustrated with all the backtracking, convoluted puzzles, and non-stop loading screens at times. Truly, Resident Evil Outbreak is a test of patience. Yet, another thing that File 2 will end up fixing. Thank God. In both Outbreak games, if you don't play as a certain character in certain scenarios, you'll find that they will die off, let alone become zombies. Though not everyone is affected by this. Yoko will become a zombie and below freezing point if someone is not playing as her.
Kiss my ass, bitch!
Help me, please!
Listen to me! Help me!
Hey, do you think a condom would protect me from the T-virus if I still wanted to tap that ass?
Go to the church and ask God to forgive you.
Meanwhile, in Outbreak File 2, David will die off in the end of the line. Cindy will be crushed to death by a giant zombie elephant. Alyssa will die in the forest maze in flashback. Meanwhile, Jim, Mark, and Kevin are not set to ever experience these outcomes. At least from what I can find and experience. It's unknown what events, if any at all, are also canon within this game. But with Resident Evil Requiem, which is Capcom's retarded idea of naming everything random for confusion's sake because they fear people will be turned off if they numbered them with Resident Evil 7 onwards. Yeah, that just makes things worse for chronological sake.
Hey! What now? Don't know what to do.
Anyways, Alyssa Ashcroft is meant to be alive up till the 9th game, as they spoiled her death as part of the plot in the trailer. Honestly, I like this idea of people dying off if you don't control them, especially in the first game since you can't pick your partners. Enough though, what about the scenarios? How would I rank each individual scenario?
That's what I was going to say.
For me, a good scenario would be one that's easy to understand. It features different pathways and alterations based on the difficulty of choice. that it doesn't take long to complete and is overall just fun. Sadly for the first game, that doesn't leave much, so overall, I'll give it to the Outbreak scenario. No major backtracking, no invincible enemies stalking you, no extremely long loading screens. It's hard to not enjoy Outbreak the most. It's easy to understand and get through without much hassle, unless you're trying to 100% the scenario's completion list, which requires you to play on very hard and escort Bob to the rooftop, which will cause him to turn. Outside of that, however, this scenario is a good example of what to do. The Hive is just okay. I can't place it in the worst or best category. It's basically because it's so short yet frustrating with all the backtracking. Though one thing above all else really makes it bad is the Leech Man. It attacks the doctor early on and becomes the new Leech Man. This enemy is invincible, requiring you to run from it if it enters the room, which it will via the ventilation system. There's basically only one area where it cannot spawn in, the rooftop, which has nothing of value outside of a box of handgun rounds. But if you're playing as Kevin or Cindy, the dying cop will give you his submachine gun. The only reason why this scenario isn't in the worst category is because of the fact it's short. You can defeat the Leech Man eventually when you power up the fixed temperature laboratory, which is needed to get the keycard off of the doctor's corpse so you can escape. The final boss being a giant leech that can attack from afar, and no real room to fight does suck, but overall, it's just an okay short, frustrating scenario. The worst scenario goes to something that involves too much backtracking, instant death traps, invincible enemies, and bad puzzles that require a guide to complete. This means Below Freezing Point is guilty of backtracking and not making sense as to where to go and what to do, but it's also the Umbrella Lab from Resident Evil 2, so I'll give it a pass. Plus, it has a good boss fight and music.
Hold your horses.
Neat.
But when it comes to something akin to Hellfire, it's definitely up there given its fire hazards blocking off entire paths. The way you earn the keys to progress is random too when you play. Something you can get, sometimes you can actually get the gold key off of your AI partner when you catch up to them, though not always. And that means you gotta run around each room to find a painting with a switch and make sure to look at what number it is and switch them on in order across several loading screens, running back and forth, dodging fireballs and lickers and zombies. I hated this scenario. It's boring and frustrating, yet it's not the worst one. Oh, no.
Surprise, motherfucker!
I don't think so.
The worst scenario is the final one. Decisions. Has you running around a boring, empty, lifeless university, where most of your time is just running around. Barely any enemies, and when they do appear, it's instant death animations like Neptune or hunters that will swallow you whole. I lost my AI partner to Neptune and almost lost my last one to a hunter.
Here's
what I'm cooking.
Bruh.
No.
Ooh, you know you did.
On top of the terrible level design and backtracking, instant deaths, and boring nature of it all, the next issue is the invincible tyrant that can run faster than you and keep swatting at you till you're dead. Fuck this guy. To make matters worse, you gotta get to a spot that has exposed wires to shock him, then collect T-blood, then run all the way back through the sewers, instant death traps, and get another sample of the cure to make daylight. Attempt vaccine to the T-virus infection that you need 2 of to beat the game and get the good ending. Meaning, you gotta do this routine 3 times total. Yep, welcome to the worst.
It sucking fucks, it fucking sucks, it fucking blows, it's a piece of shit, and I don't like it.
I already looked up how the rest of the scenario plays out, and it's nothing special. As the tyrant mutates again, tons of backtracking and instant death traps, then finally you face the tyrant one last time, and if you got 2 daylights in your inventory, which take up a spot apiece, you'll get the good ending. Otherwise, you get the bad ending, which has your character turn into a zombie and killing the firefighters on the helicopter that came to rescue you. Fuck this scenario, fuck this game, I'm done, I've seen it all.
Fuck it!
Oh boy, the music. If there's one thing the older Resident Evil games had, it was iconic music. Even if you've never played Resident Evil before, you no doubt heard the mansion theme from Resident Evil 1 or the RPD theme from Resident Evil 2. Well, this game is no different, with atmospheric tension building, eerie goodness, and emotional orchestra cinematic moments. Outbreak always has something that fits every moment just right.
Change the channel, hurry! Where's the remote?
When you complete scenarios, you'll get a results screen. Even if you die, it'll still pop up. You just get very little points if you get a game over, depending on various factors like special items you picked up, actions you've taken, difficulty, time to complete the scenario, and how many survivors made it out alive will net you a different number of points. These points are then used in the collection on the main menu. Here, you use points earned in single player and online to unlock concept art, voice lines to listen to, music to listen to, various cutscenes but not all of them to rewatch, new modes to play with like Infinity Mode so all weapons have unlimited ammo, which is what I used to get the gameplay footage. On top of all of that, you can also unlock new costumes for each character. These are basically everyday outfits to more raunchy ones for the females, because you know Japan. But you can also unlock model swaps which mimic the unique characters, so you want to play as one of the RPD officers? You can. What about the firefighters from Hellfire? You can. What about the UBCSC or the USS members? You can. Or even the average everyday citizen? You can. They range in points cost, and some are just not worth it, especially the most expensive costume, which is 100,000 points. And what are they, you may ask? Just plain color swaps of the male survivors. Yep, Mr. Red, Mr. Blue, Mr. Green, Mr. Yellow, etc. That's all it is, a full color change. It's stupid and not worth it. Honestly though, when I was younger, I thought this whole collection concept was so cool. But as I get older, I find it stupid and pointless. I don't want to see concept art, I want gameplay. So focus all your points in unlocking the new modes and difficulties. Character models and costumes can be your next thing, and after that, just don't bother. You don't even get all the cutscenes, which sucks and makes it hard to get all the footage you need to make stuff like a review on a 20-something-year-old video game. So yeah, that's the collection in a nutshell. And with all that said, we're now down to one more game in the Outbreak duology, that being Outbreak File 2. I'm looking forward to covering that one for sure, as I sunk more hours into that one, given its many quality of life improvements. And no, for those wondering, I refuse to review every Resident Evil game, simply because this franchise has a lot of dogshit games, and it's not worth my time as it is yours. So all these games on screen will never be touched, for they're the worst of the worst, proving this series of games has no identity anymore. But hey, what else is new for a series of games that's approaching 30 years old next year in 2026? Anyways, let's wrap this shit up.
Now that was a rush.
At the end of the day, Resident Evil Outbreak is an average game worth playing. However, it is held back by some hiccups such as stupid AI, long load times, inability to choose partners, and of course a few bad scenarios. I still kind of enjoy this game to this day, even after well over 15 years have passed since I first experienced this game. Jesus fucking Christ, I'm getting old. Its music, characters, fan service, and more are great. I wish, however, some things could be improved. And you know what? Capcom did just that in the sequel, Outbreak File 2, which we'll eventually cover. However, until then, that's it for this video. See you all later.
Well, what should I do with the rest of my life? I'll think about it after I take a nap. Dear God!